Good evening. Today I'd like to give a more simplistic approach to why savings equals investment in part 2. The great Oliver Blanchard taught me that production of a good equals someone's income, which someone spends, and that becomes production, and this is the cycle in the macro economy. Production equals income equals spending. So it's not surprising that economists like to say that gross domestic product equals spending on consumption by consumers, investment goods, government spending, and net exports. If we assume that exports equals imports, then we can say that net exports equals zero. Thus, our national income account's identity becomes GDP equals C plus I, G plus G. It's customary in econ to say that production equals income and Y is the variable used for income. So rewriting this equation becomes Y equals C plus I plus G. Savings is what is not spent. So if I subtract C and G from both sides of the equation, I get income minus consumption spending minus government spending equals investment. So Y minus C minus G is actually savings. Thus, savings equals investment. Let's use some actual numbers. Suppose that consumption is 100, investment is 30, and government spending is 70. That means income is 200. Breaking down the component parts, then we say 200 equals 100 plus 30 plus 70. And I've now subtracted the consumption and the government spending from this side of the equation, so it becomes Y minus C minus G equals I, or 200 minus 100 minus 70 equals 30. 200 minus 170 is 30. Thus, savings equals investment at, we'll say, $30 million. Graphing that, and sometimes people get this wrong, the supply of loanable funds is upward sloping and to the right because people are willing to supply more funds at a higher real interest rate. And the demand for investment funds is downward sloping because obviously they'll demand more loanable goods at a lower interest rate and less loanable funds at a higher interest rate. Where supply of loanable funds equal demands for loanable funds, in other words, where savings equals investment, that is our equilibrium point for the loanable funds. Tomorrow I'd like to add net exports to this analysis and show you why in part 1 I calculated that net capital inflows would equal the trade deficit.